Welcome to That Was the News That Was, Dateline 9 February. It's February already, is it not ready? Yes, is it not ready? That sounds a load of rubbish, doesn't it? But let's talk about people who are rubbish. Yeah, I think actually I called this today Rubbish People. But also worry. I have 3 stories as normal. Let's start with the first one. And it's a carry on over from Monday's podcast when we spoke about homelessness. As Ross mentioned, last year was one of the highest figures for London. And today, yesterday on Thursday morning, actually I record this Thursday, so I'll say today, we have Nottingham reporting figures gone up by 85% for rough sleepers. Now we see every single city is affected in this way. What is the solution? Honestly, I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. But it's rather worrying. I'd hate to see the figures now. Actually, today I was contacted by somebody I know who somebody's talking to in the city of Liverpool. It's about a young boy of 17 on the streets. This person, and I would advise anybody not to do this, they took them home. Unfortunately, we don't know who we're going to invite into our home, do we? And now they don't know what to do. Well, through my friend Nicola, we've advised a few places you can go to. Luckily at 17, and I completely forgot when my friend contacted me. They have a priority need. They're not an adult. Actually, up to the age in this country, up to 24, you are priority need. There's other things as well. If somebody is looking for accommodation, up to age 35, all they can do is look for shared, unless they've been in a hostel. It's quite complicated, this. I might get somebody to come on to explain it. But hopefully that young lad, although he has got one advantage, and once again we go to that law of local connection. Since his father is in a care home in Liverpool, been there for 5 years, I was told. That means he's got local connection. It's such a complicated and stupid law. My main reason against local connection, I said on Monday, is that if you're in a place like London, with so many different boroughs, you have to stick to that one borough. And I think if you spoke to most people in London, I'm thinking about myself, example. So, 2015, I think it was, I went to Lewisham. I stayed there for 6 years. Year and a half in Newham, or 2 years in Newham almost. Didn't do me much help. I don't have a local connection. Now I'm in Neasden. I think it was Wembley. Well, I'm being poshest. God, that local connection is so complicated. Now the next one, which we'll call the Conservative Party, although I'm going to return one person in general, or one position in general. The Prime Minister, Mr. Sunak. Maybe that was a train wreck in waiting. I will admit that after Boris left and they said, I thought Mr. Sunak's the guy to get the job. After all, he was the Chancellor, and we've had some good people come from Chancellors to Prime Ministers. Gordon Brown, example. But I will admit, I hate to say it, I made a mistake. This guy was another train wrecking waiting. Funny enough, if we look at our economy, when Liz Truss, who I will be talking about, brought out her thing about, oh yeah, we're going to reduce income tax, we're going to reduce business tax, the same thing as you saying all the time, a robot in waiting. He said, I don't want our grandchildren to have the bills. What's he do? Virtually, he's done the same thing. Especially now to try and get our votes. Oh, the money that was put out. And wait till the 6th of March, ladies and gentlemen, when the budget comes up. Well, let's talk about this week. On Monday, there was a recorded interview with him and Piers Morgan, and I think this was a setup, personally myself, and the guy's got no brain. He was asked about the planes to Rwanda, and Morgan said, are they going to go out before the election? He refused to say yes or no. You may remember he made that famous speech the day after the High Court says the planes will be going in spring. He never said, he never said the reality. He doesn't have any planes anyway. Or maybe him and Suella Braverman are getting pilots' licenses. That is the solution. But all of a sudden, Morgan produced £1,000 to have a bet on it. Now, according to the papers, there's a bet going on. Well, as I said once, I told you before, I was a betting shop manager, and there are certain rules to accept the bet. The other person says, yes, I'll take the bet. Sunak said nothing, so he hasn't taken the bet. But they're all saying it. I can't see the planes going out before the general election, whenever that'll be. Sooner the better. I said before, this guy is getting worse and worse. Prime Minister question time, in a way, it's reverting to Boris's days where the insults come up. Because all they keep on saying about what Starmer doesn't do. He won't answer questions. But today in the House, Mr. Starmer, just at the beginning, mentioned that there was Brianna the trans who died. Her mother was in the audience because he was going to meet her afterwards. A bit of political publicity, really. Well, the woman, Sunak said what his speechwriter said first, all about what admirable person she was. And Starmer's asking about the health service. What's he doing about the long waiting list? Once again, does not answer the question, but instead talks about trans and what is a view by the far right, which shows their prejudice, is a man is a man, a woman is a woman. He's now been asked to apologise. So far, I can see no apology appearing at all. Of course, why should he apologise? He's Prime Minister. Maybe he's taken on Trump's idea that they're God. On a side note, it's very good that the US Appeals Court has said he has no immunity. Trump has no immunity. But this is getting ridiculous. He's proven he's weak, indecisive. These incidents with Suella Braverman, which is stamped on, or sack her again, and finally had to. The fella's got no idea, no strength. Now, on the other side of it, we see Tories becoming very unsettled with his leadership. And of course, they're looking for a hero. And what hero do they find? No less than Liz Truss. Now we know one thing, this leadership battle will not happen after the general election, which everybody's saying the Tories are going to lose. Unless there's a big fiddle, they should lose. But it can happen. So I pray that they lose, myself. I pray the election is soon. I can't see it. But to bring Liz Truss in. As Barry, when he came on, he explained, Liz Truss lives in the idea, there's only one idea that works, that's her idea. It doesn't matter if it's proven, as it was proven when she brought her economic ideals into Parliament, her 49 days, which actually suddenly reminded me, you have to take 14 days off that, mourning for the Queen. So 49 less 14 is 34. So that over a month, she brought the country to wreck and ruin, and we could be in a bad situation. That's why I partly feel sorry for Starmer. He's trying to clear up the mess. So who's going to be? The one person who might have a chance of being the leader, and he said he doesn't want to be one at the moment, is Hunt. So let's look at who could be coming out. Liz Truss will be. Sunak, I think, will still throw his hat in the ring. Then we've got our favourite idiot, Sue Ellen Braverman, or Sue Ellen Braverman, as I keep on saying. I think Robert Jenrick will throw his hat in the ring somehow. He's been a minister several times, so he's acknowledged. Probably made a penny Mordaunt, but she disappointed me at the Tory party. I thought she might make somebody, but maybe, that might be the best opportunity, I think. The problem is, the Tory party are in disarray. Everybody is saying that they're going to lose a lot of seats, and they could do. But there are people who are robots, and they continue voting one way. Something I've called a friend at one time, I don't talk to anymore for various reasons. He said he's got to be conservative. He's scared of Labour getting in, and that could be the general mentality. I also spoke to somebody. I was complaining about my Sky bill. I spoke to a young lady in Scotland. I could call everybody young at my age. She votes Labour. That's it. Who am I going to vote for? Honestly, I can't tell you. I'm going to wait to nearer the general election, read the manifestos. I'm going to ask Tim to come in and help me on this when the general election comes in. We'll do it as specials. I don't know if it's a guest show. I might have a few guests talking about it. I'm not going to invite political people in. I think I've got the real people coming in, which is the advantage of this podcast. So it'll be interesting. But who's going to gain? My gut is saying a hung parliament. Labour and probably, I would have said Lib Dems. But I hate to say it, it could be another one. It could be anybody. People remember Lord Such and the Raving Loony Party bringing him back. That guy stood in several places. All he got a big cheer and he got about 10 votes. But you got 10 votes. That's the interesting point. Now the final story I'm going to tell you is happening to me. And it's a warning for everybody, because I'm sure people have fallen for it. About a few months ago, I financed this podcast. It's not a lot of money. I spend about 40 quid a month. I actually use my credit card for it. But I've got to make sure that money's there. I have a bills, and I want to get myself a few things. My friend's getting married in June. I promised her £200 for a birthday, for a wedding. But I've agreed that I'll pay 50 quid a month or something this month, so that easy. But I've got to buy a suit. I hate suits. So I was looking for a few bob. Not much. £1,000. I'd pay it over an 18-month period. I have a bad credit rating, so as I expect, I was getting refused. Now all of a sudden on Monday, I had 7 phone calls in total from different companies. Some I didn't even reply to because it said spam call. And I got one, and I really was getting angry at this point. Is that Ian coming there? Yeah. Have you had these calls? A few seconds delay, and I was like, is that Ian coming there? Is Ian coming there? I want to speak to Ian coming. And I say straight away, who are you? It's normal to introduce yourself. We're Wally Lenders. And I really got angry with it finally after the third one. Because they even offered me £3,000 over a 4-year period. Isn't that nice? But my scam detector went up. I've dealt with a few scams, not for me, but other people. So my scam detector went up. So I turned around and said, are you part of the SCA? One person said I was being rude. I want to protect myself. Any company that could approach you with that sort of thing should be part of the FCA. Can't remember it's now financial or something or other. But it's useful. I'm still getting calls. Actually, I was going to hospital today, on Thursday I should say, to check something out. Whether I had a brain or not. They told me I don't, which is a great relief. And I'm walking to the hospital, my phone rang, so I answered it automatically. Oh yeah. Are you part of the SCA? Yes, we are. I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. You email me and I'll do it. Well, I haven't looked at the email yet. There is an email for me. But once again, they're tempting, isn't it? £3,000 again. I don't want £3,000, honestly. I only want 1,000. If I can get it for 2 years, great. Probably a year. But that'd be good, man. Be interesting. I'll let you know what happens about that. On a side note, I'd like to share you a story about scammers. Now, I've known all about romance scams over the years. I joined this dating app many years ago. So it must be about 10 years ago. And of course, it was like Tinder. You clicked who you wanted to meet. Never heard from them. Then one day I got a reply. I've got to tell you the story. I got a reply from a very attractive white woman. And asked, where were you? I'm in Ghana. And my assumption would be is that the majority of people in Ghana are black. And there was something wrong with the English as such, but that's explainable. And I said, what are you doing in Ghana? She said, well, my father was in the US military. My mother was Ghanaian. When he passed away, he came to Ghana. Plausible, totally. And then she talked about when she goes home, meaning the States, of course, she'll come and visit me. And I said to her, I'm not in the States. I'm in London. Oh, no, I'll come over to you. Once I'm in the States, I'll come fly to you, I think. Must have lots of money. And then the big one come, of course. She wants to travel, but she hasn't got the money. Can't send the money. Well, I was, let's just say, skint at the time. So, of course, no calls. Over a year period, I got 3 or 4 other women contacting me. All were white, all very beautiful, and they're all in Ghana. And after all, I found a bit of software, because they sent me pictures. Not salacious pictures that I've seen, but just a normal picture of a very beautiful woman in costumes. Well, I found out 2 of them were some Brazilian models. And then the 5th one who contacted me was the same picture as I saw the first time. I said, "Have you got a twin?" No. But I think what's more interesting is this one. This happened to a friend of mine, well, ex-friend of mine. And he knew I knew all about scams and such. Well, I have an idea. And he phoned me up. He said, he's a Mark Bolan fan, if anyone remembers Mark Bolan, glam rock. He's tried to get me several times into making movies about him. For some reason, he always seems to end up earning money. When I thought of him in the past, he was thinking with the Trotter Brothers. I'm the one with the O level. He's the one who makes money. That's life. But he phoned me up and said, "Oh no, I was seeing this fella called Steve Zen. I've joined his group on Facebook." And then he told me Steve Zen has 2 groups on Facebook. One has about, 65,000 people. The other one has about 50. The 50 one's supposed to be his personal one. This is the one he joined. And he starts talking to him. And he mentioned about there was going to be an event in Scandinavia for Mark Bolan. They were going to have a concert, bring some bands over, celebrations. They got a couple of cover bands actually doing his work. So he said, this guy who proposed to be Steve Zen said, "I'd be willing to bring my band over, but you'd have to pay for the expenses." And of course, when you talk to a fan, they don't use logic. And he says, "Yeah, sure. Well, look, I'll get my manager, Larry, to contact you." I always remember that name because it was so unusual. So I said, okay, who's this? I'm not into music. I asked this fella who Steve Zen was. He told me. I did a search on Google, looked up his management company. Very funny. Not a single person there is called Larry. And then I looked at the page he told me. Personal one, no. These are what I call shot pictures. It's like me putting a picture of myself on stage, or my Winston Churchill picture I'm quite proud of, and saying, "This is my personal picture." There's no family there. And from what I read, he had a family and everything, so nah. So I told my friend to be disappointed. This was that guy called Steve Zen. And the reason they kept on using the word Larry is whoever the con man was, this is how they act, is they use their own first name. Because the surname gave it. Because say if somebody walks across, say if they're meeting somebody to make the final part of the con, and somebody calls out, "Hey Larry," they can turn around. But if somebody phones out, "Hey Steve." So he thanked me. He said I saved him thousands of pounds. He didn't pay me any money. Well, he was a tight bastard anyway. And put nothing on it. 2 weeks later, he's phoned me up. "Larry's contacted me." Well, they've got going for the kill, haven't they? So I asked him what happened. "Oh, Larry contacted me. He said it's nice to talk to me again." Straight away I said to him, "Has he ever spoken to you?" "No." Well, there we are. The guy made a mistake. They usually do some sort of mistake. You've got to watch out for it, and this was the mistake. So it was the person who purported to see Zen behind the thing, just in text, doing the same thing. So I told him that, and he said, "Oh, it can't be." I said, "Use your brain for a minute. Yeah, I know you're a fan, and people do get blinded by things. So be careful. There's a lot of, for men, particularly, I keep on getting these women contact me on Facebook and tell me how incredibly handsome I am. How right they are as well. And some of them are saying they're in London. Would they like to meet? I remember when I came out of hospital, I was living Prince Regent Lane. And this person actually told me she lived around the corner to me at a doorway. So I said, let's meet. She said, let's meet. Yeah, sure. I'll meet you in the hospital. I said, no, I'm not meeting you in the hospital. I'll meet you at your place. You're only around the corner. Well, she gave me a number. Number 13. There is no number 13 in this side street. They all want something. Usually an Amazon voucher or something. Well, I refused. And I've had a few more since then. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So watch out. And I think that I'm not saying it only happens to men. It probably happens to women as well. Let me know about them. I'd like to write a book about scams. Now that would be an interesting tale. So that's it. Now, that's it for this week. I think it'll be interesting. Could this be the week the topple Sunak? Will they find a solution for the homeless? Rough sleeping in this country. I'm very worried at the moment. I'll admit to you. But finally, next week, I have on Kerry Douglas to give you a quick introduction. And all my listeners, my contributors are amazing in some way. Kerry goes around talking about homeless. She ran away from the care system when she was 13. Now she's written a book called Gutter the Glory. If you want to get a copy, I'll be putting how you can get one. And you'll get one cheaper than Amazon. Amazon are charging 10 quid. For here, £5. I'm sure it's quite interesting. She has some interesting thoughts. She even changed my mind, which I must admit is almost impossible. So thank you very much and have a nice weekend, everyone.